I'm fine with all the other lists. As long as I'm not on the Epstein list, we're good, right? Speaking of which, how is it that my father can be convicted of 34 crimes, but no one on Epstein's list has even been brought to light? I'm trying to figure out how that's possible, right, folks?
Well, that didn't age very well. I mean, your dad is all over the list. There's probably almost no one in the Epstein files named as much as your dad. But I understand that corporate media wants to ignore this. I understand that your own cult followers don't look at facts, but I'm just not going to stop reporting about it here on the MeidasTouch Network. We're going to do the work that the media should be doing. And let's take a look at what was released this week as part of the new document dump as a result of Circuit Judge Luis Delgado in Florida releasing criminal grand jury files relating to the Epstein case. One of the things that was released was Epstein's important message log. And in between messages of Epstein coordinating massages with teenage girls were messages with Donald Trump at this time period. As one account says, prior to marrying Melania in 2005, Trump was calling Jeffrey Epstein in 2004 on the regular. We see Donald's phone message in the West Palm Beach indictment of Epstein released this week. His messages are in between girls calling to confirm massage appointments, and messages from disgraced modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel, who died by suicide. And you just take a look, Trump's name over and over again in message logs to Epstein. We know that Donald Trump partied with Epstein. They lived near each other. They hung out together all of the time. Donald Trump said about Epstein that he thought Epstein was a good guy who likes women on the younger side. Here's a direct quote from Donald Trump in 2002. Trump told New York Magazine that he thought Epstein was a terrific guy. I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Here's Trump bringing his kids to hang out with Epstein. More photos of Trump and Epstein. More photos of Donald Trump, Melania Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. It was reported, of course, in New York Magazine the following: remembering the time Jeffrey Epstein rode on Donald Trump's plane, they did board with a young woman of indeterminate age. I wouldn't be able to tell if she was 15 or 20. She was quite dressed up and quite made up, so it was hard to tell. Epstein on Trump's plane. Trump was on Epstein's flight log. In addition to being all over Epstein's message log, Trump was on Epstein's flight log at least 7 times. Here are the receipts right here, straight from court records in the Ghislaine Maxwell case. You go to the depositions of women trafficked by Epstein. Trump's name is mentioned there. Jeffrey said, great, we'll call up Trump and we'll go to, I don't recall the name of the casino, but we will go to the casino. In addition, Donald Trump, one of the women who was trafficked, one of the more well-known women trafficked by Epstein, Virginia Giuffre, she worked at Mar-a-Lago, and Ghislaine Maxwell met her while she was working at Mar-a-Lago and then introduced her to Epstein. That's how Epstein met her and eventually trafficked her. Later in her childhood, she was in and out of foster care. Virginia Giuffre, by the age of 14, she was living on the streets, and then her dad was working at Mar-a-Lago. So then she got a job there, and that's where Ghislaine Maxwell found her. I mean, there's also these stories right here. Go back to like 1991, where Donald Trump hosted the Look of the Year competition and was having these parties on yachts. Here's how it was described by The Guardian. On September 1991, a large private yacht cruised towards the Statue of Liberty. It was a clear, breezy evening, and from the upper deck of the Spirit of New York, a golden sunset could be seen glinting off the Manhattan skyline. Downstairs, a party was in flow. Scores of teenage girls in evening dresses and mini skirts, some as young as 14, danced under the disco lights. It could have been a high school prom. Not a high school prom. These were little girls. Let me be very clear. Were it not for the crowd of older men surrounding them. As the evening wore on, some of the men, many old enough to be the girls' fathers or even grandfathers, joined them on the dance floor, pressing themselves against the girls. One balding man in a suit wrapped his arms around two young models, meaning little girls, leered into the camera that was documented the evening and said, "Can you get some beautiful women around me, please?" The party aboard the Spirit of New York was one of several events that Donald Trump, then 45, attended with a group of 58 aspiring young models that September, and they were competing in Elite's Look of the Year competition. And when they say aspiring models, talking about little girls. Here were the girls who were in that competition that Donald Trump led. You could see right here, this is the 1991 Look of the Year finale, and these were the types of girls who were on that yacht that Trump was on when he was 45 years old at that time period. I mean, pretty sick stuff. So going back now, I mean, just think about it. And this week, we learned that Trump's name is all over the message log. We knew it was all over the flight log. We know about these connections. Have you heard a peep anywhere other than on the MeidasTouch network about this? Have you heard anybody else talking about it? And then you have Don Jr. go up there, and this was like a few weeks back, and just kind of mock, who would be on the list? The corporate, you don't think this is important to report on? Like, what is it that you do? What is it that you think your job is? Let me play you the full context of what Don Jr. said so you could hear it for yourself now. Play the clip.
We're never going to surrender. It's not our style, man. We don't. At this point, we got to fight, because congratulations. If you're in this room right now, you're probably on the FBI list. You're in with me, my father, my family, so you're in with good company. I am on every list except the Epstein list. We haven't heard anything about that one in a while. I'm fine with all the other lists. As long as I'm not on the Epstein list, we're good, right? Speaking of which, how is it that my father can be convicted of 34 crimes, but no one on Epstein's list has even been brought to light? I'm trying to figure out how that's possible, right, folks? It's almost like they're trying to protect those pedophiles for some reason. I can't imagine why, right? We're not allowed to say they're groomers, but when they act a lot like groomers, sort of tells you everything you need to know, right?
And Charlie Kirk, who runs the organization where Don Jr. was talking about, that's the organization that holds the banners, White Boy Summer. Remember White Boy Summer? That's the Republican Party today. Media won't report about that either. Don Jr. goes, "You know who's not on the Epstein list? My father. Because if he was, it would have been leaked in about a half a second. That's a fact. It doesn't have to be leaked. It's just out there. But the corporate media is too cowardly to talk about it. They don't want to broach these subjects." Here's Donald Trump talking about his daughter, Ivanka. Play the clip.
She does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know.
Okay, Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that
If I weren't happily married and, her father.
My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
By the way, your daughter.
She's beautiful.
Can I say this? A piece of ass.
Yeah.
She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous. She's tall. She's almost 6 feet.
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
I mean, and by the way, just in terms of how these individuals have just like shattered civilized discourse. I mean, just take a look. This is Trump's lawyer right here at the airport, Alina Habba, wearing the Trump logo, the new Trump logo hat, which is Trump with his middle finger in the air.
Good morning from Newark Airport. That's
the new logo, Trump with his middle finger. They wear that as a hat. It's what we have to explain to our children and our grandchildren and family members about the state of the Republican Party or just the state of our country right now because of this MAGA madness, because of this mess. And by the way, this shouldn't be a political thing. What I played for you on the video of what Trump was saying about his daughter, that's a Republican view. Now, what are we talking about? That should be not good no matter what political party you're in. He's just saying it out loud. All this stuff is out there. It's right in our faces. Could we not handle it because it's in our faces? Does that make it so the media is unable to report on things that we could just see right there because it's out there right in the open? They're too cowardly to report on it. Here's this out in the open. Here's what Donald Trump, remember some of these photos about Trump in the beauty pageants? This is what Trump said, how he would inspect the women naked. Here, play this clip.
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting.
Right,
I want to make sure that
you're like
everything
a doctor.
is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things.
Or here's a clip right here of Donald Trump talking about Lindsay Lohan when she was like 17 or 18 years old and saying how because she may have had mental health issues, that made him want to sleep with her more. Here, play the clip.
What do you think of Lindsay Lohan now? I think she's hot. There's something there, right? Yes. But you have to like freckles. I've seen a close-up of her chest. Yes. And a lot of freckles. Are you into freckles? If the father's a wreck like the way he is, right? You imagine the sex with this troubled? Yeah, you're probably right. She's probably deeply troubled and therefore great in bed. Back in the day. How come the deeply troubled women? Yes. Deeply troubled. Right. They're always the best in bed. If for some reason what I said is true, I mean, they're just unbelievable. I can tell from the. You don't want to be with them for the long term, but for the short term, there's nothing. And
again, this is the leader of the Republican Party. This is not someone I would want around any of my family members. Let's just call it what it is. It's just disgusting. Disgusting stuff. But on the other hand, President Biden had a bad debate and stuttered, even though he lowered prescription drug prices, implemented the PACT Act, the CHIPS Act, Inflation Reduction Act, Infrastructure Act. Tell me what you think. Now is the time. We gotta speak out for our democracy. We gotta call this out. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.